So our final keynote panelist is Felicity Morrison. Felicity is the team leader of the UK Government Cabinet Office, working on international climate change negotiations within the UNFCCC as part of the COP26 presidency team. She previously worked for the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy of the UK government and as a negotiator on international telecommunications for the Australian government in Canberra. Felicity is very passionate about international affairs and thinking about how global issues being negotiated at the highest levels can shape culture and transform society, industries, and individual lives. Felicity, you have the floor.
Thank you, Catherine. And hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with you virtually today. From my perspective, this is a really crucial topic and it's a really great time to be having this conversation. So I'm speaking from the perspective of the incoming presidency for COP26. My colleagues and I in the UK government are working to prepare for COP26 to be held in Glasgow in November at the end of this year. So there is a lot of planning and preparation going on, and our goal for COP26 is to see ambitious action across all three pillars of the Paris Agreement, so on adaptation, mitigation and finance, and also to increase international collaboration on climate action in key sectors. Underpinning all of this is the negotiations themselves, where we are committed to facilitating progress across all the mandates and ensuring that no issue gets left behind. But I'm sure you can appreciate that we are seeking to deliver on these goals in what is a very challenging context given the global impacts of COVID-19. And with the postponement of COP26 from last year to this year, the urgency for action has only grown. So for me, today's event is a really valuable opportunity to hear your innovative ideas for the way forward to help ensure that we implement the Paris goals. There's so much that could be discussed under this topic, but I just wanted to briefly touch on three things. So firstly, for me, there's a question of what are the innovative ideas or ways of meeting and exchanging information that are ripe to be brought into the negotiations. So I first started attending the UNFCCC and other climate meetings about 5 years ago now. And something that I've often heard said is that we're moving into a time of implementation rather than negotiation, where perhaps discussions at the UNFCCC are less about negotiating text and more about sharing knowledge and best practice on how to achieve ambitious climate action. And that is an amazing thought, but I think perhaps it will take us some time to get there. I participated in the discussions at COP24 in the Paris Rulebook, particularly on transparency. And that year there was quite a bit of discussion about how we could improve the peer review process for parties reporting under the Paris Agreement as part of the transparency framework. And essentially this aims to bring countries together to present their reports and answer questions from others about their policies and measures. And there were many suggestions when setting up the guidance for that process about how to improve it. So, for example, potential virtualization, bringing in non-state actors to participate, or using different meeting styles to facilitate a more engaging discussion. Now, we didn't agree on most of those changes in the end for various reasons, but it showed me that the appetite for doing so is there, if not yet fully realized. So that's the first point. Secondly, I think there's a question about how to build on what already exists. I think it's really important to acknowledge the progress that has already been made under the existing climate governance framework, while still looking to what we can do better. So, for example, the Paris Committee on Capacity Building, or the PCCB, has been a key institution in the promotion of better coherence and coordination of capacity building. And over the last few years, it's been developing effective ways of engaging with stakeholders and enhancing real-world action, most notably through its new informal coordination group, the growing PCCB network, knowledge to action days, and the successful capacity building hubs at recent COPs. And yet there's often opportunities to improve on current practices. So as incoming presidency in cooperation with the PCCB, we will be arranging a series of discussions between parties and capacity building partners to share knowledge and experiences in order to identify where action can be improved and also priorities for further action. The third thing that occurs to me is how can we continue to include non-party stakeholders effectively? I found it really interesting to note that 46% of all badges issued at COP25 went to non-party actors, and that was an increase of 29% from the year before. So as incoming presidency, we're really committed to an inclusive COP and to thinking innovatively about how we involve non-party actors, not only at the event, although that's something we're certainly considering in our planning, but also in terms of helping to guide our planning of COP. And to that end, we've engaged regularly with the 9 observer groups of the UNFCCC. We've also established a business advisory group, as well as youth and civil society advisory groups that are co-chaired by youth representatives. And we're also working with a diverse group of Friends of COP. So these are leading figures from around the world, including Indigenous leaders, and they are sharing their expertise with us to support a successful summit. As I said, those are just 3 things that come to mind when we start talking about better climate governance. But this is a really interesting topic for us as the incoming presidency, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the discussion. So thank you.